Welcome back to the Doctor's Spice Box. I'm Dr. Linda Shiue, and today I'm going to continue along my theme of June as being Mediterranean Diet Month. The Mediterranean diet, as I've mentioned in my last few videos, is one of the eating patterns for which we have ample scientific evidence for being a really healthy diet that can prevent a lot of chronic diseases, including cardiovascular disease, that means heart disease and stroke, type 2 diabetes, and cancer. It's also associated with longevity and also a lot of really great eating. So what is the Mediterranean? Many of us think about countries like Italy and Greece when we're thinking of the Mediterranean. It also includes the countries of the Middle East. Today we're going to be making hummus, which is a dip or a spread that many of you are very familiar with and might often buy from the supermarket. But I'm going to show you today a variation that isn't often sold using these beautiful red lentils here instead of chickpeas, which are more common. And also just to show you how easy it is and that you can customize the flavor. So what are our ingredients here? I'll start with our red lentils. So these are a split form of lentils which cook very quickly and they tend to dissolve, so they make a really great spread because they really don't even require much grinding. I have rinsed these and drained them. So these lentils will cook really quickly. I'm just going to put them in a small pan. So I've added the lentils and the water and a pinch of salt. Going to bring it to a boil and cook it covered until it's all absorbed and the lentils are softened. While that's happening, let's go over the other very simple ingredients that go into our hummus. So while the red lentils are cooking, I'm going to show you some garlic that I've sliced thinly, some hummus, which is a sesame seed paste, looks like this, some olive oil, healthy fat that's used widely throughout the Mediterranean, and half a lemon that I'm going to squeeze the juice from directly into our hummus. So that's all going to be combined together in a food processor, and it'll just take a minute or two to whiz up. And we're going to then garnish it with some spices and herbs. So we have some smoked paprika here. I've chosen this because it adds really a nice smokiness, but also will add a little bit of an orange-red color to our hummus to remind us that it came from red lentils, because as you'll see, after they cook they will lose a lot of their beautiful color, and we'll just add that back with this. And then I'm going to garnish with some of this flat or Italian parsley, and we're going to serve it with a crudité platter of some cut pita or other flatbread along with some raw vegetables. So it's been about 10 or 12 minutes and I can hear from the lack of bubbling that I think all of the water has been absorbed into our red lentils. Let's take a look. Oh yes. These lentils cook down so thoroughly they practically dissolve themselves, and I'm just going to show you close up that if I stir it with this spoon they actually start to become a paste almost immediately. We are going to let these cool a bit because I don't want it to melt the plastic bowl of my food processor, and then we're going to combine it with the other ingredients I already showed you. All right, now that our cooked red lentils have cooled down a bit, I'm going to put them into our food processor. As I've mentioned before in my videos, I don't use a lot of gadgets in my small kitchen, but a small or mini food processor like this, which has about a 4-cup capacity, is really handy for making things like hummus and pesto, for grinding nuts and other small tasks that you will use really every day in your kitchen if you're cooking often. It doesn't take up a lot of space, so it's a worthwhile investment. Okay, so let's quickly add the other parts of our dish here. For the hummus, we have our sliced garlic, a little bit of olive oil, tahini, this is a 1/4 cup, and freshly squeezed lemon juice. I'm going to squeeze it directly in, don't need to measure it. The average lemon has about 3 tablespoons of juice in it. This is a pretty big one, so with this half, I'm sure I have at least 2 tablespoons, probably closer to 3. And this can be adjusted to taste with more lemon juice if you want it super lemony. Also going to add a little bit of salt. And then we're just going to grind it together. Depending on how this turns out, we may need to add a little bit more water to thin it out. All right, I think we're good now. So let's take a look at this. Yes, very smooth. I'm not going to add any water at all. I'm just going to transfer it to a bowl after I taste it. Always taste it because if you want it to look nice in your bowl, you're not going to be stirring again. So let's taste it with a spoon here. I think it's great as it is. So we have our hummus here. Going to transfer it to our serving bowl before garnishing it. You can see how nice and smooth this is right now. So for our final touches, if you want to make a nice little well of olive oil in it, which is really just for looks as well as a little bit for flavor, you can use your spatula or a spoon to literally just carve out a little bit of a well. And then any olive oil that you pour into it will go directly into there, which is a nice touch. So that's the olive oil. As I mentioned earlier, to remind us of the red lentils that this started out with, as you see, it looks really indistinguishable from chickpea hummus right now after the cooking process. I'm going to add, also for flavor, some smoked paprika. So I've sprinkled on some of that beautiful red smoked paprika. And as a finishing garnish, I'm going to add some coarsely chopped Italian parsley. Looks lovely. So what do you do with hummus? Of course, it is a great dip. It's a great snack. You can have it with crudités, have it in pita. You can use it as a sandwich spread in place of kind of less nutritious and less flavorful things like mayonnaise if you want to, but it's just a really great thing to have around, and you can make any variations you want. Infinite varieties. So for today, I'm going to serve it with a crudité platter, which makes a really nice appetizer or snack. And here I've made, I have some sliced flatbread, some carrots, cucumbers, cherry or grape tomatoes, and some radishes. So this is a really nice thing to have around, especially now as it's beginning to be summer and the weather's heating up. Don't waste your money on store-bought hummus, which is less fresh and more expensive. Make your own at home. I hope you got some inspiration from this video. Enjoy.